Real true, ayy, 100%, 100%, 100%, 100%, 100%, 100%. Yo, what's up everyone? This is V-CiPz, and you're watching my review of Mac Miller's album, Circles. And this album is something that, for me personally, I've always been a Mac Miller fan for a very long time now. I've seen him in multiple concerts before. I've met him, and was a very down-to-earth, passionate guy. He really cared about his craft and his art, and he wasn't just a hip-hop artist. He did a bunch of other types of genres. He went to jazz. He went to a little bit of pop. He went into some trap. He's done a bunch of different genres, and he's created many different aliases for himself, like Larry Fishman's one of his producer aliases, for example. And Mac Miller, if you've seen my recent review of my top 5 albums of the past decade, I put Good AM as one of the top 5 best albums that I have listened to. And that album was a great album all around with many different variations, some features to help complement Mac Miller and his sound. And I just want to say, Circles is going to be something that it may not be for everyone, so I want you guys to understand that before we get into this review. The entire album, Circles, is essentially a deep cut that has reflections of Mac and his beliefs of how things just can't be changed no matter what you do, no matter what you think or how you see or feel things. Aside from all that, I think we will get started going over the review. We'll go into each song one by one. I'll talk about each one for about 15, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, talk about what I think about each song, and we'll end up wrapping up the review with a final score, 1 out of 10. That's how we do reviews for albums. We're going to do a score out of 1 out of 10, and I hope you guys enjoy. Don't forget to smash the like button, and don't forget to subscribe. And if you want added benefits on all my content, whether it's videos, bonus behind the scenes content, you want to be on the Discord for the 100% click, as well as added benefits for gameplay streams, check out the Patreon. The Patreon link is in the description, and it's also patreon.com/V-CiPz. Consider checking all that out, and now let's finally get underway with the review of Mac Miller's album, Circles. Now, for the album Circles, Circles is actually meant to be a companion piece for Swimming, since one of the producers, John Bryan, was actually one of the main creators and lead producers for Circles, as well as one of the secondary producers helping along with Mac Miller for Swimming. And to start off, we're going to go with the intro track, Circles. The intro track, Circles, is definitely a good track, and it's reminiscent of the things I just mentioned, how it's his own personal self-reflection of how things in his life may not be able to be changed, and how his whole thought process isn't the same as other people's, and he'll think of things the way that he does because that's the way he is. And I relate to that concept personally because there's times where I think about things and I see things from a different perspective, and not to say people don't believe me or don't understand me, but the common person may not understand me. The common individual may not think that what I'm saying makes sense. But if you meet someone that's like-minded or someone who can see things the same way you do, then you'll be able to find someone who feels and thinks the same way you do and can understand how you feel. And that's what I think about the song Circles, and you can tell by the lyrics directly through all of this that he feels that things just literally go on in circles, the struggles, all that. And I would rate the song an 8 out of 10. Now the next track is Complicated, and Complicated's a good song. The only thing about it is that the beat is pretty good, but it's not super memorable. The most memorable part of the song for me is the hook. When it comes to his delivery on the song, it wasn't bad. It definitely wasn't bad, but it just wasn't a standout for me. I'd give it like maybe a 6 out of 10. Okay, now, track number 3 is called Blue World, and Blue World is actually one of my favorite cuts on the whole project. I rated it a 9 out of 10. The ambience that the entire production brings, along with Mac Miller's cadence in the whole song, definitely brings the whole vibe of a blue world, a sad world, a dim world out there with the way the whole song sounds. So I definitely feel the song and I definitely vibe with it, and it's definitely one of the best cuts on the whole project. I highly recommend you at least check this cut out. Alright, now next up we got the main single of the entire album, Circles, called Good News. And Good News, when it dropped, I gotta be honest, I saw it with the music video that complimented it. And by the way, every single song that is on this album actually released with a music video when the album released. I didn't get to see all the music videos yet, just to let everyone know. I listened to all the songs first, and then I go check the music videos. But Good News is the best song on the whole album. I think that the song Good News may have been fully finished before Mac Miller passed away. The song is incredible, from the lyrics, the wordplay, along with how the beat just lullabies you in to listen to everything Mac says. So I highly recommend listening to Good News as well. Blue World and Good News, they're my two favorite cuts. Next up is a song called I Can See, and to be honest, I Can See wasn't a bad song. It's just, it kind of reminded me of Complicated in the sense of how he is self-reflecting in both songs. It's a bit similar. Him saying how he was complicated in the first song in regards of how he feels things, to regards to how he sees things, and things also seem a bit complicated because, like we mentioned earlier, with the whole basis of the theme of the album, everything is meant to be from his perspective, but how he struggles with seeing things in his perspective and how others see that. So it's pretty similar. But production-wise, of course, it wasn't exactly the same. It's minimalist, very minimalist music throughout the whole album so far. The production, it's very lo-fi. So, yeah, I give it a 7 out of 10. Now, the next track, Everybody, is one of the better songs on the album. I actually liked it a lot. The melody it brought in, along with Mac Miller and the vibe he was bringing in with his vocals, I felt worked and paired well, really nicely together. And he was able to just talk about how he feels about everybody, how everybody sees things different, how everybody will eventually die. It's how I see things sometimes too, because at the end of the day, we're all gonna die, so we might as well just live life to the fullest and do what we gotta do. And that's one of the reasons why I'm just making this review, because I enjoy making content, and I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. And I definitely enjoyed Everybody. Everybody's probably my third favorite track on the whole project. I give it a 9 out of 10. Now the next track, Woods. Woods has a bappy vibe in the production, along with a real ethereal synthing that I feel is, it gives a somber but kinda up-tempo vibe to it, chorusing his verses along with how he wants to switch up his flows, going from his more singing mellow side to his more monotone rapping side, because throughout the project so far, his rapping isn't as bright and banging as like stuff from his older projects, like back in the day, like Macadelic and Good AM and stuff. It's not like that. So it's something that by this point of the album, you should probably realize that the whole album is a bit dark, a bit dim, very lo-fi. It's not like most Mac Miller projects. So I personally am enjoying what the project is so far, but this song, it's not bad. It's good. I give it a 7 out of 10. Next up, we have Hand-Me-Downs, and to be honest, before I even heard Hand-Me-Downs, I felt like Hand-Me-Downs was going to be a super cool idea of a song, but it kind of fell apart for me. I'll be honest, it wasn't that great. Honestly, it was probably the least memorable song for me personally, and of course everyone has their own perspectives of songs. Some people love songs and some people hate certain songs, and they all have different opinions, of course. But personally, I wasn't a fan. I'd have to give this song a 6 out of 10. Now, the next track is That's On Me, and That's On Me is a good song. I do like it. It's got a very smooth rhythm to it that always picks up around the hook, and the way he brings about his lyrics is nice. It's just that as I'm going through the album track by track, this is actually the third time I'm listening to the album. It's like, not to say nothing sticks with me, but like the tracks Blue World, Good News, and Everybody are the ones that are sticking out. Those are the only ones that are really standing out for me on my third listen. And it's not to knock the song. That's On Me is a good song. I'd give it a 7 out of 10, but it's not a 9 out of 10 or an even higher score like other ones that I mentioned already. Next up, we have the song Hands, and Hands wasn't bad. I liked Hands way better than Hand-Me-Downs. Hands, I'd probably give an 8 out of 10. It was a very good song, and I felt it really brought out Mac's intuition and how he feels in one of the best ways possible. you hear everything about how he struggles through multiple different aspects, but when it comes to Hands, it's a bit more cinematic. It's a bit more just out there, you know what I mean? You could tell that he really was like, for this song specifically, at least trying to not change things up for the song and for the album within this, but he just really wanted to have a real smooth piano influence within it that brought about a more enlightening feel to the song compared to more of the lo-fi minimalistic stuff throughout most of the album at this point. Now, next up is track 11 out of 12. We're already towards the very end of the album, Circles, and the song Surf, the first half of the song was good, I gotta be honest. I would give the first half of the song 8 out of 10, but the second half of the song is all instrumental. I feel like throughout this whole album, there's definitely parts of each of these songs that were a bit too long on the production end. Like there was like 40 to 50 seconds in certain songs where it's just the beat. But in Surf, it's like 2.5 minutes, and it felt like there might have been a feature that was meant to be on there that never ever came to be. If I were to predict who it could have been, maybe Anderson .Paak. I know him and Mac Miller made songs together, but with the way this album sounded as a whole, Anderson .Paak, CeeLo Green, some of those artists would have been great complementary artists for these songs, and I feel like at this point, a few features would have been nice in order to change up the flow, change up the sound, but I can enjoy Mac Miller by himself. It's just that with the way the whole album's sounding on the third listen, it's like he could have used a feature or two. He probably could have. The final song on the whole album, Once a Day. Once a Day I thought was pretty dope actually. What makes Once a Day so different compared to many other songs I just reviewed with like lower scores is that Mac Miller was able to compose the song into a smaller time frame while being able to convey how he feels about everything in a more precise format. The production on the song is very good. I like the production on it. It's just that I miss Mac Miller, man. I'm giving the song an 8 out of 10, but I just miss him. When he passed away, he still is one of my favorite artists, and it's just a shame that this is how it all had to be, because if Mac was still around, then maybe the album wouldn't sound exactly the way it does, but like maybe this is what he exactly wanted it to be, and I don't mind that. It's just that I miss Mac. I just miss Mac Miller. Alright, now my final review. You've heard all my scores for the individual songs and how I feel about everything, and overall I feel I need to give the album Circles an 8 out of 10. I listened to it 3 times, front to back, and there isn't necessarily songs that I would skip, but there is songs through the album that aren't real highlights. They feel like they mesh together a bit too much, and they seem a bit similar, because like I mentioned throughout most of the songs in my mini reviews for each of them, a lot of them are minimalistic beats, pretty lo-fi. A lot of Mac's verses are a bit monotone in this one. There's even moments where he does mumble a bit, which I don't have a problem with mumble singing as long as it's pulled off well, but I feel like it was a bit too, like, I guess lacking's the word. I don't want to use that word, especially for an artist I've liked and he's passed away, but it feels like that Mac Miller should have still been alive when his album released, because it was halfway done when Swimming was released, and it's a shame because the other half of the song, well, the other half of the album basically became minimalistic production. Like the song Surf, it had over 2.5 minutes of production. Some of the other songs on this project had 40 seconds or longer of just beat going to the end, and it's like, I don't mind that in some songs, but a large majority of that was like that here, and some features could have helped fill out the gaps and make the whole project seem more cohesive as a whole. So overall, Mac Miller Circles, gotta give it an 8 out of 10. If you enjoyed my review, V-CiPz, of Mac Miller's album Circles, please make sure you smash the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well. And also don't forget to check out the Patreon page for added benefits, all the videos, content, behind the scenes, and more. If you enjoyed everything, thank you so much for watching the video, and I hope you all have yourselves a good one. Peace.
Got me a shawty who